Just come into the breath, notice where it's filling the belly, how it's moving into the chest, maybe even coming up into the collarbones and shoulder area. Forgot to shut this door. So just a few deep breaths, settling into the present moment. You can close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Start to set an intention for your practice. Some of these intentions might be to stay with the breath, to stay in gratitude, whatever you may need more of in your life right now. Just call it in, create that anchor. And from here, we'll move into our tabletop. We'll do a few cat and cow movements just to warm the spine up a little bit before we hold some poses. You can also move forward and back to get the wrists and feet a little warmed up as you round the spine. Exhaling all the air out as you round the spine up for cat, and inhaling deeply as you stretch and let the belly drop for cow. Just moving through these two extremes by following the breath and just moving around in whatever way feels good for you. Making sure to feel into the four corners of the hands. And then from here, we'll come into our first hold, which will be a twisting child's pose. We'll start with a nice twist, getting those shoulders open. So you can lift your left arm all the way up to the ceiling. Inhale. And then exhale, melt that arm underneath the other arm. So your left shoulder and your left ear come on down to the mat. Left palm is either up or down, whichever feels best for you. And then you can keep the right hand where it is, or you might want to extend it out to the front edge of your mat, or loop it around behind the back. Maybe you can even hold on to the inner left thigh. And breathe. Just allow any tension that you're holding in the left arm to be released. You can also just start to send the breath into where you feel the twist, allowing that area to expand on the inhale and release on the exhale. Waking up with twists is such a great way to encourage our digestive system to get moving, to start to release toxins, help boost our metabolism. So it really sets a great tone for the day, for your body to process anything that it needs to digest, move through. So if you ever feel like you're not hungry or you're having sluggish elimination, you can try some twists in your day to wake up that digestive tract. It's like wringing out a sponge, just releasing any stagnant energy. You can also take this time to check in with your face. Just notice if you're holding tension in your jaw or your forehead or your eyebrows. If you're furrowing the brows together, really concentrating on something, see if you can relax that area and come into softness. A lot of times if we're holding tension in one area, it spreads to the rest of the body. So taking the time to notice and release really helps us relax and get into that parasympathetic nervous system where we can feel calm and supported. So we'll just do one more breath here in this pose. And as you next exhale, if you had your right hand moved away from the face, bring it back in. And then as you inhale, start to move through and lift that left arm up. And then exhale, set it down, and we'll come into the other side. So your right arm lifts, lengthening and stretching on the inhale. And then exhale, release the right shoulder, the right ear down to the mat. If it feels good to keep the left hand there, you can do that, or you can reach it out toward the front edge of your mat, or loop it around behind the back, maybe holding on to the inner right thigh. You're welcome to close your eyes. In every pose that we do today, there's not a lot to see. You're really just more about feeling it in your body. So as soon as you kind of know what the pose is, you can settle into the stillness that you feel in your own body. Noticing where you're feeling the release. Maybe also noticing where you're feeling tension and tightness. And just sending the breath there to help you release that energy. Nothing else you need to do but breathe. You can keep your focus on the breath. If your mind starts to wander, just gently bring it back in to the breath, to the sounds around you, any of the smells in the room, the feeling of the mat supporting you, the clothes on your skin, the temperature of the air, any tastes lingering in your mouth. Just allowing these senses to bring you into the present moment, into stillness, calmness. Just scanning the body, checking to make sure you're not flexing anything that doesn't need to be flexed. Seeing how much more you can melt down into this pose and relax. You can take a last breath here, filling those lungs. And then as you exhale, if you had the left hand moved, you can bring it back. And then when you inhale, just start to reach that right arm all the way up and stretch it out. And then you can exhale to release it down. Now you may want your block or your bolsters as we'll come into child's pose with the melting heart option. The melting heart option just gives you more stretch in the shoulders and also gives your cervical spine area more stretch in the neck. So you can have your forearms rest on this bolster or blocks. And then settle down into your child's pose. So your knees are wide enough to make space for your chest. And then just melt that chest down in between the legs, and then your head melts down in between the arms. Hopefully your forehead can make it down onto the mat so it can rest here. And if this doesn't feel good to your shoulders, you don't have to be in melting heart. You can be in traditional child's pose, or you can even bring your arms down alongside the sides of your body. And if you want an additional tricep stretch, it's optional, but you can bend the elbows and bring the palms to touch, and then let those palms melt back toward your back. And then just settle into that stillness once you find the pose that works best in your body. And just yield to the passing of time. Nothing else you need to do. Sometimes it takes a little bit for our mind to settle into stillness, just like our body. So if you find your body wanting to wiggle and move, you might notice that your mind is also a little agitated and wanting to move. A lot of times as we slow down the breath, we allow the body to settle, our mind follows and begins to settle as well. Don't worry if that's not the case. You can just allow any thoughts to come and go, just passing through like clouds in the sky. You can notice that with each inhale, your breath expands the body, creates space in the spine, in the back, between the ribs. And with each exhale, you're able to melt down, maybe just a little bit more. Maybe just relaxing a tiny bit more with each exhale. And just a last couple of breaths here in this pose. And you can start to slowly lift yourself up, move nice and slow between these poses. A lot of times they create stiffness. Eventually they create flexibility, but in the moment you might feel a little stiff. So we'll move nice and slow, and we'll just swing the legs around. We're just going to come to sit on the sit bones, and we'll bring our feet together into a butterfly position. So they're in kind of close, not so close that it hurts your knees or doesn't feel comfortable, but close enough where you can still sit up straight. Your knees can kind of start to float downward. And we'll just do a few neck stretches here before we come into a forward fold. So first, just drop the chin to the chest. Release the air out of your lungs. Release the tension in the neck if there's any there. And then inhale, float the ear to the shoulder, whichever side you want to go to first. Feeling the stretch through the opposite side of the neck. And then exhale back through center, chin to the chest. Then inhale, opposite side, floating the ear to the shoulder. And then exhale, releasing the chin back to the chest. You can move this way, swaying back and forth and just noticing how your neck releases. You can also allow your head to drop back if that feels good for you, stretching out the front of the neck and doing some full circles with the head. So this is your practice. You can choose what you want to do. Feel empowered to make decisions that feel best in your body. I'm just the guide, giving you options and suggestions so you can take whichever ones work best for you. And when that feels complete, you can sit up nice and tall. Inhale, look up even if you want. And then when you exhale, just send that chest forward toward the feet to your own degree. And then once that chest reaches its edge, its stopping point, can't go forward anymore, you can start to tuck the chin back into the chest and release the forehead down toward the feet to your own degree. And breathe. If you want to take a bolster, a block, or your hands to your forehead, you can do so to allow it a resting place. So the thumbs can come into the upper ridge of the eye sockets. You can release your head down into the hands. The elbows are resting on the mat or your legs. Or you can angle a bolster toward you or stack some blocks, whatever feels good for you. Or you can just let your head hang heavy if that doesn't bother your neck. And we'll just be here for a few moments, breathing into it. And just notice where you're feeling the stretch in this pose. Most likely it's in the inner thighs and the groin area. But if you're feeling it in the lower back or the upper back or the mid back, just again send the breath there. See if you can allow the body to relax and release in the time that we spend here in this pose. And you can also notice in your stillness how much the body moves just with each inhale and exhale. It might be a lot or a little. And then on your next inhale, we'll just start to ease our way up out of this one. And we'll just make a very slight change, bringing the feet forward into a diamond shape. And everything else is going to stay the same. So we'll start to lift the chest up again, inhaling to lift. And then exhale, folding forward, hinging at the hips, releasing the chest down. And the arms can either be outside of the legs or inside of the legs, wherever you feel allows you to get deeper into the stretch. And again, you can use props to rest the head on, knowing that as you spend time in this pose, you might want to shift the prop because you might be able to get deeper as your body unwinds with time. This one, you feel it in a little bit of a different place. So even though it's a very small adjustment that we make, you're probably feeling it in a different area. Maybe it's in the hips, outer hips. As the muscles relax, we're getting into those deeper tissues, all of the things that keep our body connected and able to move, the fascia that sends energy throughout the whole body, the tendons and the ligaments that allow the muscles to stay connected to the bones. So when the muscles are tight and holding on, oftentimes so are the ligaments and tendons. So we're just softening everything to allow more flexibility in the body, which typically leads to less injury, which is what we all want. Nobody wants to be in pain or injured. So we're doing a lot of preventative maintenance here in this practice. And just a couple of last breaths here. And we'll start to lift up the torso. Remove props out of the way if you had them there, and we'll swing the feet around. Come into a tabletop. And then make sure your wrists are warmed up still. We'll start to come right into a downward facing dog. So place your hands a little bit in front of the shoulders, tuck your toes under, and then lift your hips up and back. Feet should be parallel and about hip width distance apart. You can bend one knee and then the other. Just start to notice the straight leg stretching even more. See how close you can get that heel to the floor. And feel the stretch in the shoulder blades. Let the head drop and hang heavy. And then on your inhale, slow and steady, lift that right leg up and back behind you. Really reach that leg up. And then as you exhale, bring the knee forward, flex the foot, and step it in between the hands in front, and start to lower your left knee down to the mat. If you need cushioning under your left knee, you can do that, and then start to straighten your right leg. You can also reach the right leg out further. So we're coming into our half split here. So you can stay with your hips right over your left knee. You can tuck your toes under for more stability, or you can let the toes go, reach your left knee back a little further, reach your right foot forward a little further. It just depends on where you're at in your half split. It might be a 3/4 split. You might be able to come down into a full split. You can have a block underneath your front leg if you want to have something for it to rest into, because we will hold this one for a couple minutes. And then once you have everything set up so that you feel good in your body, you can start to fold forward nice and slow, bringing the forehead toward that right knee to your own degree. You can also have blocks or a bolster for your hands or your forearms to rest down into. And just breathe here. Probably feeling a very deep stretch in your right hamstring. So as long as it's not pain and you can breathe through it, you're right where you need to be. Just settle into the stillness. You might also be feeling it in the left hip flexor, front of that left leg. So again, just send the breath there. Wherever you're feeling it, just send the breath. And try to connect in with that inner knowing part of yourself that is also your source of happiness, the inner smile. Even if it might seem a little silly to turn the corners of your lips up sometimes, faking a smile can send the message of joy to our body. This is a great way to face challenges in our life with curiosity and a smile. Sometimes we take things so seriously, we forget that life is here for us to enjoy. If you want, you can also move your right foot from side to side, just kind of waving those toes left to right. Allows you to feel the different muscles in the hamstrings, actually made up of 3 different muscles, so you can feel each of them stretch independently as you switch the position of your foot. Again, if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. We'll start to make our way slowly up and back to a downward facing dog. So take your time. You can bring the right foot back. Start to tuck those left toes under. Lift the hips up and back. However you get into your down dog is fine. And just start to pedal the legs out a little bit again. Maybe noticing that your right heel can come closer to the mat now after that deep stretch. And then we'll do the other side. So when you're ready, inhale, lift that left leg up and back. And then exhale, step it through between the hands. Help it up if you need to. And then set yourself up with your props. Whatever you need to get comfortable, since we do hold this pose for a little bit of time. Just finding, again, your edge in this pose. So maybe you're in a half split with your hips right over your right knee, or maybe you can send that right knee back a little further. Maybe you can bring the left foot a little further forward. Maybe you like having a block under the front leg. So take your time to make all the adjustments you need. And then you can start to send the chest down and the forehead over the knee. Rounding down. And again, we're not trying to force anything here. We're not rushing the process. We're just allowing the body to slowly unwind in its own time. Just continuing to send the breath wherever you're feeling tension, tightness. Seeing how much you can relax. Again, you can also wave that front foot, moving the left toes from side to side, feeling all the muscles in the hamstring area start to release. Getting a really nice deep stretch here. few more breaths here in this posture. And we'll start to shift back into a downward facing dog again, taking your time, bringing that left foot back, getting yourself all set up, lifting the hips up and back, and then just feel the difference from our first downward dog to now. You can again pedal the legs out. And then we'll start to bring the right knee forward once again. You can just bring it low, come into a figure four with both legs. So deer pose here. So your right leg is going to be your shin about parallel with the front edge of your mat. And then your left leg, if you can, 90-degree angle out to the side. You might want a block or a bolster here in front of your right leg as you start to forward fold over that leg. Again, inhaling creates length and space, and then exhaling allows you to fold forward a little deeper. And it's okay if you can't get both legs at a 90-degree angle, or if you need a block underneath your right hip to lift you up. So take your time again, because we will be here for a couple minutes. Many options for where you can rest your forehead. It can be on a block or on a bolster, or you can do that move with the thumbs to the upper ridge of your eye sockets. Or you can stack the hands and let them release onto the hands. So wherever you're at, just try to find that relaxation. I know this can be a pretty intense hip stretch. So just keep sending the breath wherever you're feeling that tension. You can imagine the breath like water flowing into the area where you feel tightness. And with each exhale, releasing that tension, just like water flowing down a waterfall, easily making its way out of the body. You might also notice emotions coming up to be felt and processed that you tucked away in the moment. Maybe you didn't have the time or the patience or the knowledge or whatever it may have been to deal with it in the moment. And maybe it's coming up to be felt now, and just allow that to move through you. Everything is temporary, and emotions are just energy in motion, here to be felt, expressed, and then for us to move past. So just know that you're safe here. If anything comes up, just allow it to move through you. You can move the forehead from side to side if it's on the floor or on a prop, just giving yourself a little third eye massage. And then as you feel ready, you can start to lift the torso back up, pressing into the hands to help yourself lift, and just move your weight into your right hip. Swing that left leg around in front. So you'll come into fire log pose or cross-legged position with your left leg in front, whichever one works in your body. So fire log, your left foot will be on top of your right thigh. If that doesn't work for you, you can again just have it in front. If you have a whole bunch of space between your knee and your foot on the left side, you can put a block here. Sometimes that helps us to release the knee down into some support. So otherwise, we'll come into a forward fold. So you can reach the arms up by the ears and inhale. And then as you exhale, lower the chest down toward the thighs. Allow the arms to release. And then allow the forehead to release into a block, the hands, or just let it hang heavy. You can keep the knee protected by keeping the left toes flexed. And if this doesn't feel good, please take a different option, like reclined pigeon is a good one to also get into the outer hip. And again, we'll just be here for a few minutes. So just find that pose that works for you and allow the body to release. And the only thing moving is your breath and maybe your mind and possibly some emotions. So just staying present with whatever experience you're having, continuing to bring that awareness back to the breath. If your mind or emotions lead you down a path of story, can always come back to those sensations of the breath, how it's moving through your body. How cool or warm the air is as it moves through your nostrils. You can even focus on the length of the breath, the depth of the breath, the rhythm. Just keeping our awareness in the present moment is a practice, and it can help us to be aware of how we're feeling in any moment and also how we'd like to respond. It keeps us from reacting in ways that we might regret later. Allows us to have a moment of pause before we respond. Which can improve so many areas of our life. So last breath or two here. We'll start to press into the hands, start to lift the forehead, the chest, everything back up. And you can bring the hands behind you and uncross the legs. We'll do a little windshield wiper action. Just let those hips release some of that tension, the stagnant energy from just sitting there. And then we'll move into deer pose on the other side. So you can come onto your knees and then swing your left leg in front and your right leg out to the side. So you can set down on your left hip. See if you can get those 90-degree angles with both legs. Make whatever adjustments you need to with the hips being elevated or with a blanket to rest on, or maybe with a bolster or a block in front of you. Whatever you need to get comfortable in the deer pose, which sometimes is not the most comfortable pose. So just allowing the breath to slowly move you down over that front left leg. You can just keep tuning into the quality of your breath, coming back to that inner smile, this concept in Taoism that brings us to that heart center where our soul resides, which knows nothing other than happiness and joy and compassion. So we're just allowing that energy to grow in our bodies and in our awareness as we hold these poses. Just the last couple breaths here in this one. Start to press ourselves up, pressing into the hands, starting to lift the torso and sending the weight over to the left hip. Swinging the right leg around and in front or on top for fire log stacking pose or cross-legged pose with the right leg in front. Again, find the version that works for you. You can always come into reclined pigeon also. And we'll inhale to lift the arms, lift the chest, extend, and then exhale to release, fold forward, down, lengthening the chest as much as possible, and then settling in, rounding the forehead down. And we'll stay here and breathe for a couple of moments. And just allowing these hips to open up, allowing the energy to move through us, creating space for what's to come, even more goodness, more abundance, more things to be grateful for, more reasons to smile. Again, connecting back with that intention of what you want to manifest in your life. Just bringing that into your awareness. Connecting it with the breath, with your heart center, making it become real in your life. And with your last couple of breaths here, you can start to gently press into the hands, lift up the chest, the head, the torso. And then we'll start to make our way onto our backs. So you can uncross the legs, swing those feet out in front of you, hold on to the legs, and just start to roll yourself down onto the mat. You can bring the knees with you, hug them in, give them a nice squeeze. And then straighten your left leg out and down onto the floor, keeping the right knee in. And then you can start to send the right knee over to the left. Maybe you have a blanket there for it to rest on when it gets there, or a block or your bolster. And then your right arm extends out to the right. And if that doesn't quite make it to the floor, you can do a few arm circles to release the shoulder socket, the muscles in the chest, to allow that to relax on down. You can just stay here in this twist and breathe. Or you can also bend the left knee, reach down with your right hand for the left foot, hold on to it and pull it in closer to the hips for cat pulling its tail. Getting a nice quad stretch on the left leg by doing this pose. You can also kick the foot into the hand to feel more of a stretch in the outer left hip as well. And just check in with the neck, make sure it's not feeling tension, whichever way you have your head facing, make sure it's a relaxing position for you. And then again, just focus on sending that breath into where you're feeling tightness in the body, wherever that may be. Just imagining the breath helping you to release that tension. if you had the left foot held, you can start to gently let that go, straighten that leg back out. Maybe extend the right arm out for a moment. Feel that stretch across the chest. And then when you're ready, you can start to send the right knee back to center. And give both knees a squeeze, hug them into the chest. Maybe even sway a little bit side to side, release tension. Give yourself a little massage in the hips here. We'll come into the other side, straightening that right leg all the way out in front of you and down, hugging the left knee in, and sending the left knee over to the right side. Left arm going out to the left. Just feeling that twist. Maybe doing those arm circles to release the left hand down closer to the floor. Again, setting up any props you might need here. And just start to relax and release into the twist. And then if you'd like to come into cat pulling its tail, just bending the right knee, reaching down with that left hand and hugging that foot in closer to the hips. Again, feeling that stretch in the quad. Can also kick the foot into the hand a little bit, feeling the stretch in a different place in the right leg. Just doing whatever you need to do to feel the stretch and release in those legs and hips. Doing your best to relax everything else that's not working. All those muscles in the face. Releasing the root of the tongue can often have a very relaxing effect on the whole body. So you can send your attention there. Just letting yourself release and relax in this pose. And if you had the right foot held, you can go ahead and release that now, sending that foot back to straight, straightening the right leg, and then extending the left arm out once again, feeling that stretch across the chest. And then as you feel ready, you can bring both knees back into the chest. We'll give them another squeeze. You can send the forehead to the knees. And then you can relax back down if you want to move the legs in any way, maybe sending those knees around in a circle. Or if you want to come into a happy baby, wherever you're at. This is the pose before our final resting pose. So any final movements you want to do. And then we'll release everything down to the floor, letting the feet come out to the sides of the mat and just releasing them. No tension in the toes or the feet. Palms facing up, arms a little bit away from the body, and just letting the shoulders tops of the arms, forearms, back of the hands, releasing. No tension in the fingers. Again, checking in with the forehead, the eyebrows, letting the eyeballs release into their sockets. All of the muscles in the face relaxing. Letting yourself melt and spread like water into the floor. And I'll just let you enjoy a few moments here in stillness and silence. And let you listen to that quiet inner voice of your inner teacher. Start to gently deepen your breath now, bringing that awareness back into the body, wiggling the toes and the fingers, maybe rolling the thumb over each fingertip, and stretching in whatever way feels good to you at this time. Maybe rolling over to one side and curling up in a little ball. No rush to come to a comfortable seat, but eventually we'll meet there to set the 4 intentions for living our most happy, healthy, and harmonious life. So you can bring the right hand to the belly and the left hand to the chest. And here we'll set the intention for a joyful, energetic body. And bringing the hand from the belly on top of the hand on the chest. Setting the intention for a loving and compassionate heart. And bringing the fingertips to touch, palms are separated. Setting the intention for a calm, reflective, and alert mind. Heels of the hands pressed together, middle 3 fingers express outward, pinky and thumb stay connected as we set the intention for lightness of being. From here you can bring your hands together in prayer at heart center. Gently bow towards your fingertips and thank yourself for doing this class that's beneficial for body, mind, and spirit. I'm so grateful to share my practice with each of you today. Namaste. Thank you so much.